Experiences from being adopted.
Alright.
Alright, so let's start with, what is your name?
Patricia Gilbert.
And is that your maiden name?
No, my main name is John, J-O-H-N-S.
Alright. And when were you born?
I was born October 9th of 1944. I was baptized on the 10th of October 1944. The doctor did not sign my birth certificate until the 23rd of October 1944. So October 23rd turned out to be my legal birthday.
Wow.
But they baptized me the day after I was born because I only weighed 2 pounds and they did not expect me to live.
Alright.
So the priest baptized me. I was raised Catholic.
Alright. Did you know growing up that you were adopted?
Maybe about 6 years old, I knew I was adopted. I didn't broach the subject till I was like 12. I told all my friends I was adopted. And my best friend said she couldn't play with me no more because I was adopted. And she told me, blowing out, that probably my mom was a whore and she couldn't play with me anymore. So I went home to my mama and was crying about it, and she talked to that girl's mama and got it straightened out where she could play with me.
Oh, wow.
The only thing I knew about my real mom is that I was delivered by a midwife and that my mom had red hair. My grandma told me that. It's the only thing I knew about my real mom.
Okay. You don't know your mom's name?
No.
Alright.
No, I don't.
So your adoption, you were saying, was your adoption sealed?
No, it was not. It was just, it wasn't very popular to be adopted at the time. But a lot of people just, I guess it was during the war, World War II, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people just gave their babies away because they didn't want them. Or they were too young to raise them or whatever.
Okay. So do you know, so I guess that kind of covers why you think you might have been adopted.
Yeah, I think that's why. Because
Maybe she was young.
she was probably young.
Alright. How do you feel about your birth mother?
Well, I'm glad she had me.
Right on.
You know, and I'm thankful for that. I wish I could have thought to ask more questions when everybody was living.
Yeah.
But it was such a taboo subject for everybody. You didn't ask questions as a kid. You weren't supposed to ask nothing. So I never did ask, even when I got to be an adult. My brother was adopted too. He wasn't my real brother. And I didn't know that he wasn't my real brother until I went to service and he was adopted. And I was adopted and they said I didn't have a real brother because we were both not from the same family, birth-wise, you know, like.
Yeah.
And I thought that sounded stupid. He'd been my brother all my life.
Right.
And I thought, well, that's stupid to be legally not a brother and sister for like, as far as the military went. I thought that was stupid.
The military didn't recognize adoption.
They didn't recognize them. Yeah, kind of. They did not recognize that we were real brother and sister because we were not blood related.
So would that make your mom and dad not your real mom and dad because you're not blood related?
Well, I didn't ask them that.
Oh, okay, I just had
I didn't ask them that. I was too shocked that they said that wasn't my brother.
Right.
You know.
And he had a sealed adoption.
Yes, he did. But it didn't go well for him. Because he went to a lawyer, got his records unsealed. He was born in Amarillo, Texas. He went to Amarillo, got the papers, went to the nearest motel, left the paperwork in the car, went in there to take a shower. They were going to go out and eat and look at the paperwork. They went back to the car, and somebody from that town followed them and stole the paperwork out of the car. That's his only way of knowing about his real mom and dad. And he was very hurt over it. He came up from a family that had 3 or 4 brothers and sisters. And the reason that he got adopted out is because he had club feet and they could not afford him. And I always thought that his real mom must have been married to a rich person and didn't want her past brought up. And she had the money evidently to...
Sounds like something you see in a movie.
Yeah, I know it was. It was so weird, and it really hurt his feelings because he always thought if I hadn't have wanted a brother, he would have never got adopted to this family. Because we did not have a really cool upbringing. Because I did not blame my daddy, but he came back from the war with post-traumatic stress.
Mm-hmm.
And if we made too much noise or did anything he did not like, he beat the crap out of us. And it took me till I was like 35 to realize that wasn't normal. Because I realized that all the kids were getting beat up, so we used to see how many whippings everybody got, how many they got. But anyway, I never blamed my daddy because my grandma told me he was sick. And I had a love-hate relationship with my daddy. When he was good, I loved him. When he was bad, I didn't like him.
Yeah.
You know. So, but he came back from the war with 2 kids. You know, because my mom couldn't have kids with, regular. So she adopted my brother. She adopted me. 4 years later, she adopted my brother. My brother and me are 4 years apart. But he came back from the war with 2 kids that were, kids that he couldn't get used to us. Because if we made noise, he'd get upset.
Oh, okay. So y'all were adopted while he was at war?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if this all makes sense.
It makes sense to me. Okay. Have you had personal struggles because you were adopted? You mentioned earlier about the little girl who said she couldn't play with you. Was there anything else?
It's just secrets. We had secrets,
Okay. And I know that you're married. How soon after you met your husband did you tell him that you were adopted?
I probably always told him.
And how did he feel about that?
He didn't ever say nothing about it.
He must have been okay with it. He married you, right?
Yeah, he did. He came from a family of 6 brothers, so his mom tried to have a girl, so I guess our daughter-in-law was taking her daughters,
Yeah.
She was Irish, and she was really cool. And she was so sweet until the first time I seen her mad, and I just backed off between her. I just backed off because the youngest son, Danny, he was 17 and I was like 19. And he talked back to her. And I walked between the kitchen and him. And she was telling him he wasn't ever going to be old enough to talk back to her. And she was red in the face. All I did was back up while he walked. She walked up and socked him, across the room. But his dad worked on the railroad, their dad. So she raised 6 boys that were hell raisers. They had, they were just boys. And she managed to raise 6 boys, which I really thought she did pretty good.
All right, I have one last question for you. Do you think children who are adopted should be able to find out who their birth parents are? If they want to.
If they want to, I think they should have a way to at least if they want to, I think they should have a right to know their history because I'm adopted and I don't have, you know what you call Ancestry.com?
Yeah.
I can't call them because I don't know what my past is. I'm like a little dog, a little stray dog that don't have no family. You know, like
I know what you mean.
real family. Because I don't have nothing real. Like my husband's got Italian and German in him. I don't know what I got in me. I'm just like a little stray dog. And I think I would have liked to have been able to at least have my history. That would have been nice to know my history.
Yeah.
And that's it.
All right. That's good. Good job.